This morning is a beautiful morning to record a garden tour. I actually recorded one the other day. It was really bright sunny, and so there might be some clips from that in here, but I think that this morning is just a better morning. So here's the June 2023 garden tour. We'll start over here on the patio. We've got the one green stalk over here, and we've got the little impatient shelf over there. Everything's starting to fill in really nice. I have a couple of little pots of cilantro over here that the damn squirrel won't stay out of. So I'm still trying to get that going. I repotted it yesterday because I think the dirt it was in was really heavy and it just was icky. Found some TV trays in the garage yesterday, so we're going to set those out here on the patio, and we have the patio chairs all set up. It's never going to rain again, so may as well. I don't think it's rained for weeks here in the Twin Cities area. Well, the North Metro. I think the South Metro got some, but anyways, here's our citronella plants what are they? Scented geraniums, they call them. But they're starting to flower. They get these pretty little flowers on them. Over here we got the pots that we grow every year. I've got the baby tears, and then just some regular old begonias with this. What is this called? This was called like pink flamingo celosia. It's really been growing really well, so that's nice to see. The pot over here is doing really well this year. I just went sort of simple. I did some New Guinea impatiens with the purple fountain grass, and the grass is really coming in nice. Sometimes it struggles, and this year it's doing really well. Over here I have my patio tomatoes, or the tomatoes that are kind of I showcase every year, like right as you walk into the back. This one on the left side is the Dr. Witchies, if you're a Roots and Refuge fan. And then over here is a Berries Crazy Cherries, and you can really see that these things are so happy and so healthy. We have some fruit sets starting to happen. There were some giant beautiful blossoms yesterday that were that hopefully took off. It was a beautiful day, so I don't see any reason it wasn't hot or humid or anything. So and then the Berries Crazy Cherries is, it's almost 5 feet tall at this point and has just hundreds and hundreds of fruits on it. So hoping to maybe do a little bit of record how much fruit you get off of them this year. We'll see how fancy I get with it. We have the little hosta garden down along here. Last year there was a lot of dieback, and this didn't come back very well in the spring, so it's really nice to see that it's starting to make a comeback and just recover a little bit from whatever happened. I don't know if there was some pest damage or some ice damage. This hosta used to be a really big hosta, so it's just making a slight comeback now. And then we moved our Mandevilla Mandy over here. We used to have it over by the pond area over there, but we got a new stock tank as a pond, as a water feature, and I think that it being too close to the hops trellis, it was blocking a lot of the sun for the Mandevilla. So this year we're trying it over here, and it does seem to be doing better. It's been a cool week. It got a little yellow. I just put some blood meal on it to hopefully green up its leaves a little bit and keep getting it a little bit more healthy and get it to grow up its trellis. It's always my trouble with trellises is that they're empty for like half of the season. And this garden over here is doing really nice, and that is hilarious because I threatened to dig it out before the season started this year. We purchased our Blackstone, and I wanted to kind of maybe extend that patio to make it like an outdoor garden area, and so then this garden just took off and is beautiful this year to try and prove to me that I don't want to do that I don't want to lose that garden space. It might still happen because we need somewhere to cook out here, but that's okay. We have all the different annuals coming in. I wanted to document this one. It was called like Hummingbird Mint. And it's really pretty. It does seem to be like growing in really nice. Wish it was in an area, I wish I would have planted it in an area where it was showcased a little bit better, but that's okay. And then the hot lip salvias, the hummingbirds love those. I see them in there all the time. We transplanted this hosta from the area over to the left that we'll talk about that we dug up. Because the little hosta that was here was struggling. So I'm not sure if this one's going to struggle here, but this one's a little bit more hardy than maybe the other was. We have some ferns taking over the hostas over here that we need to sort out so that it doesn't kill any of those. Next we'll go through the vegetable area. So over here is my kind of main vegetable garden. While there's vegetable gardens all the way through the yard, this one is the main area. Over here we have all kinds of great things growing over here. The strawberry patch is really, I just got quite a few strawberries off of it on Friday, so 2 days ago. It looks like there's a few more that need to come out of there, but it did really well. I wanted the strawberries, the actual strawberries, to be a little larger. Like, I think that the type that I'm growing are meant to be a little larger, but I'm getting kind of small fruit out of it. So this is the average size kind of strawberry that I'm getting out of here. So maybe I was wrong. Maybe I planted a different variety than. So I'll probably look into that, maybe replacing them as time goes on. Over here we have this is a yellow daylily. It does have one orange daylily growing in the middle of it that I can't get rid of. So that's what the stalks are right now. The yellow one isn't starting to bloom yet. Over here we have the calendula, and then there will be elephant ears maybe coming up in there. They always take so long and I get so impatient, but it really is only the middle of June, so I probably need to be a little bit more patient. Over here we have the borage on the corner, and then I have a bunch of rutabagas that are growing in here. I did sprinkle them with some pepper powder that I had, because some hot pepper powder, because I have a lot of bunny damage that's coming through this garden, and it's just breaking my heart and making me really mad. This is just a zucchini. This is just a summer squash. Over here I did plant, along this little stick right here, I planted some Titan sunflowers, so I'm kind of hoping that by the end of the season I have a Titan sunflower growing over here. I have the one over there that's a lot farther along, but it'll be great to see both of them. I have some basil and 2 things of basil, and then some flowers along the front, just some zinnias and some marigolds. And then the ground cherries, I was having a lot of pest damage. You can kind of see how angry the plants are, and like, here's a group of them. I think that they are cucumber beetles that are wanting to grow on there. So I've just been hand picking. I don't spray my gardens. So hopefully I can get those under control. I do have like a trap crop of some Chinese lanterns over off to the side that a lot of times will, that's where the cucumber beetles like to go, but it seems like they've come over here this time. Over here, I'll just try to go through this sort of quickly. I've got my marigolds on either corner, and then I've got the dill that is starting in the middle and wherever else the seeds kind of migrated to. I have a shishito peppers over there. I have, these are not pinos, these are habanadas. This little pepper plant in the middle is a garden salsa pepper, and that one is a sweet heat pepper. These 2 peppers back here are the only 2 that I purchased. All the rest of them were started from seed back in February that I grew out. The pak choi is, looking beautiful. I'm going to be honest, I've never actually eaten pak choi. So, or is it bok choy? I know that there's a controversy of people calling it different things. Anyways, they look like they're getting to be ready. I have them kind of sprinkled throughout the garden, and yeah, it looks like they need to they need to go. I need to make some stir fry. Got the carrots. I got carrots over here. This part I had pretty good germination rate. The side over there I didn't, and so I had to replant some seeds, so there's some really baby ones over there. I do let the milkweed grow in my garden wherever it wants to grow for the monarchs. Hopefully we'll have the butterfly house going this year. It looks like I have quite a few really healthy plants, so that'll be really helpful when the monarchs come through this year. I've got kohlrabi that, I mean, I would even say that this one back here is almost ready to harvest and have a really early one. That'll be great. I love the kohlrabi. I have silver slicer cucumbers that I started back here. I always struggle with cucumbers, and I will talk about that when we get back to where they're growing. I think it's where I grow them, so I'm testing them out here. Just kind of put that silly cage around them, and then there is an arch trellis, probably hard to see on the camera, but so they can come up and grab whatever they want once they get going there. Over here on this side of the trellis, I always grow the runner beans. So I have both sunset and scarlet runner beans that will come up here, and they just kind of, at this point in their life cycle, replant themselves every year and come back up over there. This is what I call the salad bowl, which I need to make a little sign for the glass, but I've been growing salad. Obviously I have bolting spinach that needs to come out of there, and then these beautiful lettuces that are coming up in here, and then I have some Rocky Top lettuce mix that is starting for back there. You can see I just watered, so it's kind of all knocked over. Then we can kind of come over here, and I'll just sort of stand back and oh, I should talk about this first, though. I do have my Swiss chard on either side over here that's starting to do well. My chive, it obviously came back and is doing really well. Over here we have Kajari melons and Canada crookneck squash. And so, yeah, I'm really excited for either one of those to take off. I always struggle with those cucumber beetles bringing in, like, bad diseases and killing off my plants. So I have never actually gotten a Kajari melon, and I'm going to keep trying. Someday it's going to happen. One of these years is going to be my year. This is a Berry's Crazy Cherries. You'll see that that's probably my favorite tomato plant to grow. So I think I have 3 or 4 of them growing throughout here. But here's a Berry's Crazy Cherries. You can see I made my little plant tags out of my waterproof paper and my laser jet printer. So it's really nice to be able to have that to know what all the types are, and yeah, have a quick reference to that. Over here we have the onions. These are Walla Walla onions along the front, and then I have the garlic that has been so fun to grow this year. I don't think I've ever had this much success with garlic, and so I will continue to do this as the years go on. This one is German white along the front here, and then there is one row of elephant garlic in the back, and so I know that the German white is doing really well. The elephant garlic might be a little bit to the imagination, but I did have one send up escape. It was this one on the corner that sent up escape that I cut back. The other ones didn't. I don't know if that's normal or if they're just late, but you can see that the plants are starting to die back, which I think is the right thing that they're supposed to do. So hopefully in a couple of weeks we'll be able to harvest garlic for the first time and have a real garlic harvest. Back here I have the tomato wall, so you can see that I have all the tags on the cattle panel that I have over here. We can start from the left over here and go to the right of which ones I have growing along the tomato wall. I have a lot of the okay, as I was saying, my battery just died, so I had to go grab another one. I purchased there was a pack that Roots and Refuge did with Wild Boar Farms that you got like a variety pack of 8 different tomatoes. So I did grow those along with many of my other tomatoes this year, but I'll be honest, the Wild Boar Farm tomatoes just did really well, and so they are getting showcased this year because they just did so good. The seedlings were so beautiful that it was totally worth it. So I have, this is the tomato wall: Large Bar Boar, Black Beauty, Brad's Atomic Grapes, and then this one I don't think is, it's a Dr. Weish's, and then a Blue Beauty, Barry's Crazy Cherries. There's a Paul Robeson, that's also new to me this year. Blush is a one that I've grown for years. Mortgage Lifter is possibly my favorite tomato. It's like my first slicer tomato that I had good luck starting the seeds with and growing it out into those beautiful tomatoes, so it has a special place for me. And then Bossk Bumblebee and Berkeley Tie-Dye are the line of tomatoes along the wall here, or along the fence here. I think, if I'm not mistaken, almost every one of these, except for maybe that small Blush one there, has fruit set already on it. So that's really great to see that they're doing well. I am keeping up on watering. Again, it hasn't rained for quite a while here, weeks and weeks, so keeping up on watering is really important. The desert of Minnesota at this point. Along the front of this garden, in here, I have a lot of brassicas. So there's cauliflower, broccoli, there's some Romanesco broccoli, and there's kohlrabi growing in here. So it's just letting that kind of take off. I'm having a lot of problems with rabbits, and so they finally found this garden, and you can see that they ate these two plants here, which just makes me so mad. You can also see the orange on there. That's where I sprinkled some the powdered pepper. I had actually freeze dried some hot peppers last year, or 2 years ago actually, and I had a giant thing of it, so I came and sprinkled it out here to try and prevent. You can see this one is just heart-wrenching. It was 3 kohlrabis that I had growing in a little ball there, and they killed it. I have to say that it's actually sprinkling right now, which is the first, if you want to use the term, rain that we've seen in weeks, which is so great to see. We'll go along the peppers on the left side here. This is kind of like the jalapeno row, so I have a whole bunch of jalapeno plants growing here. Starting with the Tam jalapeno, that's from Baker Creek. Actually, I think all of these seeds would be from Baker Creek. So the Tam jalapeno is supposed to be a little bit milder. The interesting side of it is to see how it's growing. It's growing up rather than the traditional where the seeds start growing down, or the peppers start growing down. So it is interesting to see that it's a little bit different from the others. The other one we have here is we have a lemon spice jalapeno, so that's what these two are. They're a little bit farther behind their next door neighbors that are orange spice jalapenos, and then I have pumpkin spice jalapenos. As you can see, I have a theme going on over here. Over here you can see there's a couple of little peppers that are starting to grow. So, and I mean, it's only the middle of June, so we have plenty of time for these. And then the last jalapenos in this row are the Craig's Grande jalapenos, and they're looking really great too. Over here we have a pot. So these are the ají dulce peppers. I have a colleague that was raised in Puerto Rico, and so I've been learning all about their cuisine and trying to I love the food, and so these peppers are a huge part of their cuisine, and there's the sofrito that they make, that they mix with beans and meats and all sorts of really great seasonings. So I'm trying to grow out some of these ají dulce peppers, and knock on wood, I think it's working. So these ones are really healthy. I might even try to overwinter these. I know that people can overwinter peppers by making them go dormant and then bringing them back. So that's why these are in a pot, is I might try to do that. Next door to this are just a whole bunch of stuff in this garden that's really fun. We have the lettuce leaf basil along the front, so that should get big and full. I have the Sugar Rush cream, Sugar Rush peach, and the ahi mango peppers. These are going to be really hot, and they're going to be really great for a nice hot sweet hot sauce. That's usually what I make my hot sauce out of. So it looks like we're getting really, really healthy plants this year. So hopefully we'll be able to make some good hot sauce. Behind that are the 2 dwarf tomatoes that I grow. I fell in love with the Metallica one last year. It's of course got the darker fruit to it. And then this one is a Walter's Fancy, and that one is a yellow slicer tomato. I mean, it's variegated, so that just is so beautiful that I had to grow it. Behind that are rows of sunflowers, so I'm hoping to have some sunflowers that will be growing up and along the fence there. Oh my gosh, look at what I just found. I'm going to get in so much trouble with the mama robin. But look what I just found. So these are our baby robins, and I'm going to leave so that Mom can come in and take care of the babies. They just fledged out of the nest on our shed yesterday. Okay, I got a little distracted by a baby bird, but we can just talk quickly about our weird cage over here. Our weird cage over here is our blueberries. It's the only way that we have been able to grow blueberries and keep the rabbits from eating them. Apparently blueberry plants are just a delicacy for rabbits, and they'll just mow them right to the ground. You can even see over here where a little bit of the plants have grown through, they'll just chew them right off. If they come through, they chew them right off. So this is how I get blueberries, and we have a lot of blueberries this year that are coming through, and so hopefully soon we will have a ton of blueberries to eat. We'll finish up with this over here. We've got more milkweed that grows. This actually, it's kind of funny because the plant actually grows outside of the raised garden bed, and that's fine. It just gets in the way while we're walking. Over here we have lipstick peppers. So these 2 plants here are lipstick peppers, and I get the seeds from Baker Creek again, and they are starting to put on a lot of fruit. Like there's a ton of little peppers growing on these little plants. They're kind of little plants. I'm sure somebody would tell me that I should have picked them off and let the plant grow, but I'm actually growing the plants to get peppers. So I always think that's kind of, I don't know, seems counterproductive to me. So I've never tested it though to know whether it actually works. These are more of the ahi dulce peppers, so I have a significant number of them. I think when you count the actual plants, because there's 1 or 2 little ones in there, so I think there's like 6 little plants there, and then there's 3 more over there, so I have 9 growing. And they are doing really well. They're getting a little yellow. I wonder if I need to do a little bit more fertilizing, which that is just fine. I can do that. We do have a lot of flowers on this one. So these at least seem like they grow up before they start to put on flowers. So you can see there's like one little sad plant down here. Maybe I shouldn't have, but you never know. I leave them because you don't know. You don't know what might happen to them if something bad would happen, but I think it's really great to see that they have this like unique leaves on them too. They're very wrinkly and kind of a different shape than many of the other peppers that I grow. So over here is the trumpet vine. That was my grandparents' trumpet vine, and then my mom had it, took a start of it and had it, and then I took a start of it and had it. So I think this is probably the only surviving one. I know the one at my mom's house is gone, and I think my grandparents, their house is gone. So yeah, the trumpet vine that is doing really well. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of research. It's getting really big, and it's going to start taking over this walkway, and we need to be able to walk through there. So hopefully I can figure out a way to like prune it back and just kind of keep it a ball, kind of keep it smaller. But it's a great problem to have. I enjoy it. This is more of the hummingbird salvias that are underneath there, and again, they love it, and they love the trumpet vine when that starts to bloom too. So that'll be like hummingbird haven there. This is just kind of random things that have survived a lot of gardening changes. So we've got a little hosta there, and there's actually an echinacea with a tiger lily and a milkweed that's growing in there, which is kind of a funny little group. Behind there, we can just talk about this really quick. I have my peas. I can't grow peas. I don't know what to do. Peas are one of my favorite things to grow in the garden, to eat out of the garden, and I can't ever get them to grow. So I'll keep trying. That's just how it goes, right? Just keep trying. Down here, I had an extra pepper, so that's a lipstick pepper that is kind of struggling down in there, but it should catch up. It'll be fun in there. I kind of popped over here to take a picture of these tomatoes that I have growing over here. I have the Sunrise Bumblebee, the Solar Flare, the Giant Crimson, which, if you don't know the story of that one, is the M.I. Gardner started 80-year-old seeds and is now selling them. So that's a cool thing. And then an Ape Lincoln, and that little guy over on the corner there is a big rainbow. I know that I have them growing really close together. They're probably not going to do really great over here, but it's kind of the space that I have, right? So that's what they get. And then over on this side, on the back side of this trellis, I have white northern beans that I'm going to try to grow, and grow some dried beans. It's one of my favorite foods, so I would really like to see what I can get to grow out of them. In the middle there are just some parsley and some kale that came back from last year, and it just is flowering, and I'm just going to let the pollinators have some fun. This raised bed garden over here is kind of where we started with our garden renovation this year, on the edge of here. So we'll talk about what's in this garden, and then we can really get into all the work that we did and how beautiful it turned out. So over here we have the celery. I grow celery every year, and then I make celery powder out of it, or celery salt out of it. So I have a freeze dryer. I freeze dry it, grind it up, mix it with some salt, make some celery salt. And then next to that are the sweet banana peppers. That's one of my favorite snacking peppers, and so that they are doing really, really well. I mean, you can see that some of the peppers probably need to be picked at this point. So I think I started those seeds in, February, around Valentine's Day, that I started those seeds. Over here too, we have some sage that came back from last year. I didn't know that sage was a perennial, but it certainly seems to be, so that's beautiful to see. And then I have some cabbages and some collard greens. Again, the rabbit got into it, so it really started to eat some of this collard greens back here. I did sprinkle this too with the pepper powder, so hopefully that goes away. Hopefully that rabbit can just eat the hostas, right? It's the funniest thing ever, because I don't actually get angry if they eat the hostas. They've never mowed them down or anything like that, so I wish that they would just focus on eating that and leave my little seedlings alone, but I guess you don't get to choose, huh? We can talk quickly about my bucket tomatoes, is what I call them. I have 3 bucket tomatoes. These bucket watering systems are really convenient, and they work really well. I was growing these in the back, and I'll talk about that when I get back there, but I don't think they were getting enough light, and so I'm testing it out to see how they do out here. And I mean, even just so far, they're taking off and doing amazing, so I do think I'm onto something there. This one is a Black Beauty, right next to me here. A Black Beauty, Mortgage Lifter, and a Dr. Wishes. I don't know how to say it, but Dr. Witchy's. The yellow one. It's a big, and the Dr. Witchy's tomato is a big yellow slicer. So that's really fun to have. This is one of my frustrating, it hurts my heart to talk about, but I did have corn. I always grow the mini popcorn, the blue popcorn, in these pots, and I have never had any problems with doing that. I have that one, and then I have this one over here. And you'll be able to even see that in here is some of the popcorn growing in there still. The corn is still coming up. I don't know if it was a squirrel or a rabbit, but something got in there and mowed it down. It completely mowed down all of the corn that I had growing in here. It's gone. I was growing some beans to have the beans around the base of the corn, but it's gone. So I don't know if there's enough time. I was going to go look it up and see if there's enough time to start some more. So over here is where we really did an amazing transformation. This was all just, we had an old path in here, and then it was just filled in with daylilies and junky hostas, and it was just a jungle over here. So we decided to buy a couple of the VegoGarden beds, and we sort of made those the showcase of back here. We dug everything out, and then we moved our other green stock over here. We have a little piece of concrete that I'm not even sure what it was from, but it's a round piece of concrete that we set the green stock on, and then planted out the VegoGardens. We then redid, Bill, shouldn't take any credit for this, Bill redid these paths for us. So we have these paths now. We also put in these pavers along with some of the mulch in order to just keep it from turning into a jungle again, is obviously what we're going to try to prevent. We bought some beautiful perennials, so that's been really great to be able to sort of get back into perennial gardening. I always kind of shift back and forth between what my interests are. So we've got this one here. We purchased this beautiful hosta here that I'm hoping will do well. And then over here we can see the path continues back out of the garden. This is the lily area over here. We didn't touch this too much, although we did buy a couple of miniature lilies to put along this edge with some of these items. We got the echinaceas growing here, and then you can see that we'll go over and get some good shots of that beautiful lily that's blooming right now. The next to the bird bath, and then the tall tree lilies are over here too. This is a lot of just old-fashioned tiger lilies that have volunteered in this garden, and I mean, if they want to grow, they can grow. But they had taken over here too. It was just a sea of them. You can see we just left maybe one over here, or one little group of them over there, but there were a ton of them. So then some miniature hostas that we have. I have this echinacea that I dug out of that was growing in here, so that looks really healthy. It's so much more happy now. I think this is cranesbill or something, like a wild geranium that it's called. Another miniature lily, and then this daylily, I think, is a burgundy one. It's really angry. Like, we tilled around it and we didn't dig it up, so it's kind of mad, but it'll recover. And then this is just planting annuals into these VegoGardens to just see kind of what does well back here. It'll be interesting to see. I've got some dahlias that I purchased down at the Landscape Arboretum that are hopefully going to do kind of a showcase in the middle there, and then just some other annuals. We've got there used to be that we grew a big pot over here. I'll show you the pot that it's got a fig tree in it now though. That we always grew the castor beans in that, and so this year we have the castor beans growing in the VegoGardens, and they're loving it. They seem to be pretty happy, so that's really great to see. You see, we put this little path in so that we have access to the entire garden. I understand that hopefully it will kind of fill in and we won't really be able to see that path, but to be able to walk through there when we're watering and stuff will be just so helpful. And then I call these ones my mom's heart-shaped one. She always called it like the heart-shaped hosta that she had, and I got a big start off of it, and then that has exploded here, and I've been able to separate it a million times, so I have a ton of them. Here's another one of them. They're just a beautiful kind of blue hosta. Again, some just short little hostas that I broke up that were along my edges that hopefully will just fill in. This area over here was always really nice with the hostas, so I didn't touch it. I maybe should have. I maybe should have broken some of these hostas up. They probably need it, but that can be in the next year or so that we do that. So there's that. We have like one little pot in here that growing just. This actually used to be the pot that was on the edge of the patio where the Blackstone is now. So it was great to find a new place for it. Over here we have some lilies that are blooming that just gorgeous. I bought those at the Home and Garden Show from the Minnesota Horticultural Society sale that they have there a couple of years ago, and they're really taking off and doing well. It's kind of sad because we've got those that are doing well, and then next to it were the other ones that I purchased, maybe not doing so well, but I don't know why. And there's all sorts of like volunteer lilies that I don't really know what they are. These are tiger lilies because you can tell from the little weird seeds that they grow, but I don't know what those are. I think they're pink. I think there's like, this is another one, just a strange volunteer lily that that'll grow over here. And then here's the tree lilies again that are usually around the 4th of July, I would say that so they're a couple weeks out, I think, from blooming, but you know, they're about 5 feet tall. They don't require any staking. They've been just a great plant to have. I know this seems crazy, but this is our like hops trellis, and it's actually turning out how we wanted it this year. So it's great to finally see it sort of doing what we want. We lost some shade from some trees back over here, and in the evening time our patio gets just blazing sun. We have the awning, but you know, that doesn't block the sun when it's coming from the other direction. So we put this up, and we've been growing that as our afternoon shade, and it's working out pretty well. So it's really beautiful to see this year. It's always been kind of sparse in spots, but this year it's really healthy and happy. So hopefully it continues that way. Over here is another garden that needs to be redone like the one over there. So we've been talking about it. We're gonna put some time and effort and money into this, but we just need to figure out what we want to do and have the time to do it. So over here, like, there's just some kind of like filtered hostas back in there. This one is just like my favorite hosta. We call it Big Daddy. It's enormous. I think it actually might be called Big Daddy, but it's an enormous hosta that's been here and been healthy and been doing really great for many years. Over here we have the wild ginger that we grow. Where this pot used to be, we used to have a Japanese maple, and unfortunately the rodents got it one year. It actually didn't die from our winters. We were able to overwinter it, but the rodents went and girdled it all the way. The whole thing was girdled. It just died. And then just the pots, they're not really doing that great this year. I've got some eucalyptus back there. I've got, this stuff here. I don't know. It just not going that well. This one's probably the prettiest one, right, with the beautiful, I don't even know what this stuff is called, diamond something. And then the cannas are starting to come in back there, so there should be some tall cannas there. This one over here, I have the butterfly peas, like the blue butterfly peas is what I have growing in here, and I really wanted it to take off and grow up this trellis, because that's what they're supposed to do. They're not doing that. This is the first year I've ever even gotten them to germinate, so that was exciting. And then this is some like wheat that I bought. They're like, the wheat berries, if the conditions are perfect, will turn blue. I'm sure the conditions won't be perfect for me, but I thought that it would be cool to have like the blue wheat growing up there and then the butterfly peas, but it's not turning out. That's okay. You win some, you lose some. Again, this all could be redone over here. As beautiful as some of it is, it needs to be revamped. So that'll be a huge undertaking when we finally do that. I love that hosta. I've decided that might be my favorite hosta. It's just gorgeous. This is the lungwort. worst name for a plant, but it's a beautiful plant. I happened to throw it in the ground back here years and years ago, and it comes back every year. It looks beautiful, blooms. So in this garden, this year I'm just growing contender green beans in the majority of it. I just did regular old. I didn't do any special colors or special anything, just some plain old contender green beans. I do have some stuff growing along the front edge here. I call this the mystery pepper because I don't know what it is, and I don't know where I don't know. At first I kind of thought it was a jalapeno, but now I'm almost wondering if it's maybe like a I don't know, shishito? I don't know where this purpling would come from. So anyways, it'll be a mystery when it puts on a pepper and we can really see what it is. This one was just an extra Berkeley tie-dye tomato that I had, and I didn't have the heart to kill it, and so I thought maybe it wanted to grow over the edge of the garden bed here, but it just wants to grow up, which is fine. And then this is silly, but it's a watermelon. It's not gonna do anything. I know they never do anything, but I still like to plant one every year. I have gotten one watermelon once, and it was really good, so maybe. And then over there, down at the end, I am growing Armenian white cucumbers on this trellis rather than the beans that I normally grow, because I normally grow like pole beans on there, but I never really do anything with the pole beans. It's not really enough to do anything with it, so I'm experimenting with that this year, and I see tentacles. I see that they're finally starting to put on tentacles and gonna start growing. I'm going to do some of this tour. We do have the baby bird right there, and I don't want to, it's actually sitting right on the edge of the stool or the wagon right there, so I don't want to chase it away. This is a San Marzano tomato that is doing terrible. This is one of the only tomatoes that I didn't start from seed. I purchased this at the plant sale, and yeah, it's just not doing very well. So, I don't know, lesson learned maybe. These are two more of the dwarf tomatoes that I'm growing back here. This is where I had those buckets last year, and they just didn't do very well. So I'm experimenting with just having these two buckets here rather than those 5-gallon buckets too. And this is the Walters Fancy, and then the Dwarf Metallica there. And then I think I'm just going to do the rest of the tour from right here, and hopefully Mrs. Robin doesn't get mad. So over here I have this raised bed that has this trellis on it, and it just struggles every year. First of all, there's a ton of critter pressure on it. I can't get any kind of brassica in the ground without them just mowing it down. I put some sweet potato slips in there just hoping these would meander through. They're chewing those off. They've chewed the tomato plants. They've chewed the marigolds. Like, I don't know why they just think that this is their buffet. Like, they don't get into the rest of it, and for some reason they just come in here and mow things down. Now this is where I'm growing my cucumbers and a lot of my melons and things like that that I really want to grow. So I'm guessing that I'm gonna have to put some kind of a fence around it. Bill and I talked about putting a hardware cloth fence around it, that where my mom's hydrangeas, I don't even know what kind they are, I'm sure somebody knows, but they're just hydrangeas that have been at my house since I was a little kid, and now they're taking over back here, which is great. They're looking sort of healthy. Again, it won't rain, so they would be looking a lot better if they got some more water. And I mean, there's certain things that we water a lot and certain things we don't. We don't water a lot back in this back garden. A little bit, but not like, we don't do anything crazy back here. This is another place that really could use a revamp. I've tried a few times and I'm never very successful. So we do have this big giant trellis that we grow the hops up. The hops back here are struggling this year. I'm sure the lack of rain is not helping that at all. And they're kind of just getting jungly back here. So I think we need to, we're probably going to need to, you know, do something, probably grab some fresh plants or something back here. That's the compost area with the baby robin in it. And this box right here has the cannas in it. that I'm just growing back there. Back behind there are potatoes that I'm growing. Just growing a few potatoes. Apparently we have an air show going today. An air show. We have robins. It's utter chaos. That's the compost area back there. So then kind of the end of it back here is just this beautiful garden, like shade garden that we have over here that we just kind of let it be what it is. I'm sorry, the baby robin just fell again. That we just kind of let it be what it is. And then over here, these 3 planters this year, Bill built these for me like 3 or 4 years ago. I've been trying to get them to be beautiful. And the only thing that really is happy and beautiful back here are the cucamelons. So this year I gave all 3 of them to cucamelons. We're going to grow massive amounts. And yeah, they're doing really well. They're already to the top of them, and we have some little baby fruits on there. So that's kind of the end of it for the June garden tour. I'll hopefully try to remember to keep doing them, you know, at least monthly, so that we can really see the progress and see what works and what doesn't. It's a great documentation of what's working and what doesn't. I guess we can leave off with our ridiculous grass seed project that we have here. The rest of the grass is dead, and then we decided to plant some grass seed. And so we took some of our compost and we like sifted it out and sprinkled it on there, and put the grass seed down, sprinkled the compost over the top of it, and you know, it's the only green spot in the backyard. So hopefully it'll start to rain and we can have grass back, and that really helps with the compost too. So if you watched all the way through this, thank you, and I'll talk to you next time. Happy gardening.